This is JJ Conway. I'm going to give this one more try to make a video for y'all today, but I think everybody around is listening to this is getting a crack out of it, and I'm kind of feeding on the energy over there. So we'll see what we can do. The reason I'm making this video right now is I just finished my morning walk in the park, and it gave me plenty of time to reflect on the lessons I learned from the Spartan Race this weekend. As many of you know, me and a girlfriend signed up for the Spartan Race. We signed up for it a while ago. She was facing some physical issues from last year, and she needed some motivation to overcome that, and I needed some motivation to drop the baby weight. Of course, along the way, we had that car accident, and I couldn't use my arm, and so, you know, I wasn't even sure I was going to do it, but it gave me motivation to do everything my physical therapist said, and so then I was able to actually get to a point where this weekend, out of the 23 obstacles, there was only 4 that I couldn't do. And I even got further on the monkey bars this time than I did when I did the Tough Mudder a couple years ago. And back then I was at full strength. So, hey, go figure. That just goes to show, never give up. You know, always give it a shot, and you'll be surprised sometimes at how far you get. The biggest thing for me, though, is that this particular race uncovered a lot of mental stamina that I needed to have, as opposed to physical stamina. Yes, the obstacles were difficult. Now, I will say I probably had a little bit of a mental challenge already, because we started off, you know, going through swamps and stuff, and I ended up walking through this swamp with all these dead fish, and it was just so nasty and disgusting, and I was so worried about disease. And I mean, I'm just, y'all know I'm tough, but there's just certain areas I am not tough in, and dead fish in your water brushing up against your body, that's one of them. So so I was already just mentally just done because of those fish. And of course, as we get to the end of that long swamp, you know, we're getting out. We're finally done. We finally made it. Nothing got on my face. I'm so happy. I trip over a root or a rock or something and face plant right into the water that at that time was about calf high. Oh my goodness, I was so bummed, right? So my mental state was already not the greatest, okay? But then we started getting to the obstacles where I really needed people to help me. And that's where I had my biggest challenge. It wasn't that everybody else didn't need help, because almost everybody that I saw was needing help on a lot of these walls, to climb these walls. But the thing that I was discovering was it seemed like there were a lot more people that were available to help other girls than they were to help me. And I don't know why that was. It could have been appearance. It could have been the negative energy that I was putting out. So when my girlfriend would ask me if I needed a boost or she wanted to help me, I was happy to let her help me. But as we got further through the race, I felt like it wasn't fair for me to always go first, and then I would come around to try and help her, but somebody had already helped her, or she'd already gotten herself over, which is great, right? Because she's awesome. I mean, she really was impressive. If y'all would have seen her flying across those monkey bars, I was so proud of her. But for me, it was, okay, when I let her go first, you know, we came to this one big obstacle, and people were not trying to help me. And the guys were just standing around, and I was just like, really? I didn't tell her that. She was already over, right? And so, but then the guy who was manning the race came over and helped me, and he was pushing on my behind and pushing on my legs to get me over that wall, and it just broke me down. It didn't break me down physically. It broke me down mentally, because here I was having to realize that I cannot do it myself. I have to rely on other people, and sometimes other people aren't going to want to help you. So then I had a reset in my mind, because all I could think about was the fact that people didn't want to help me. And I'd already had somebody say something negative, and I had kind of shot something back at them, and I was already getting into that negative mind frame, which is, you know, part of why I don't volunteer at races anymore, because I don't like to hear how negative the people handing out water and stuff are to the people at the back of the race. Not to their face. To their face, they're like, oh, congratulations, good job. But when you're working it, you hear all the negative stuff they have to say. So I just don't even do that anymore, because I am that person in the back of the race, you know. But for me, all of that came back to me. And I had to deal with all of that mental. So, I mean, I'm sitting here flying across these obstacles. I'm hoisting this weight, and I'm pulling this little sled with all this stuff in it. And I'm feeling like I'm really, really strong physically, okay? And I'm really excited because of the accident and all the physical therapy we've been doing over the last 4 months. But mentally, I really had to overcome that. And, I even teach the class. For those of you who've been in my newest class, we're working on abundance and attracting abundance mindset. And whatever we put out into the universe, that's what we're going to get back. So if we focus on how we hate our job, or we hate our life, or we hate the way our kids are behaving, or we hate the way that the school's acting and the administrators, or whatever it is that's negative in our life, if we focus on the negativity, we're inviting more of that negativity back into our lives. And what we have to do is reframe it and look at the positive so that we can attract positive into our life. Because, well, this is kind of live, so I'm forgetting I'm forgetting who said. I think it was Nightingale. I forget his first name, but basically he says you are what you think about. Okay, and in the Bible, even one of the scriptures says to speak those things which be not as though they are. And it's a very common concept in business to go ahead and say the things that you want to have happen, because whatever you say to yourself over and over and over again, and whatever you think about over and over and over again, another scripture talks about thinking on the things that are lovely and good and just and true. Whatever you're putting out there over and over and over again, that's what you're manifesting into your life. And we might say we're trying to improve our life, but if we don't get our mind on board with that by bringing out the positives, then all we're going to do is keep attracting the negative. So if you wonder, well, why do I feel like I'm working so hard and I'm doing everything I can do, and I'm budgeting, and I'm eating beans and rice, and I don't go out at all, and I don't go out to eat, and I don't buy my kids a whole lot of gifts, and I see all this other stuff, and I'm not getting anywhere? Or we feel like, oh, I'm doing all this Bible study, or I've cut off all my old friends, and I'm no longer living the life I used to live, but I don't feel like I'm profiting spiritually. Or I'm walking the park every morning, and I'm making a sacrifice to get up at 4:30 in the morning and do my prayer and do my workout, and I don't feel like the pounds are budging. They're just staying there. And I'm doing everything I can do. But are we doing everything we can do? Or are we mentally attracting negative consequences into our life? Let's reframe that, and let's attract the positive consequences. And that's what I had to do on that race, because after that guy had to help me over, I was just so defeated. And then we're running, and I'm trying not to let my friends see that I'm crying, because I'm JJ, I'm tough, I'm awesome, right? People don't things like that don't bother me. Well, they do. So for one, I had to really realize that I had to stop bringing all this negativity into my life. And then I really had to get down to the core of why was I feeling so negative. One thing, I was feeling negative about the fact that people weren't offering to help me at that particular obstacle. And I couldn't help but notice that prior to me, all the women had plenty of offers to help. So, that makes you wonder, well, what's wrong with me? How come you don't want to help me? What is it? Because I'm like twice their size? Well, I kind of am. So we got to another obstacle, and we got to another wall, and I was like, they helped my friend over, and I was like, look, I'm going to need help, and I'm twice as heavy as she is. And they were like, oh, no big deal. And they hoisted me up. But by then I had changed my mindset. So let's go back to before I had changed it. So I get down from that, and I'm running with my friend. I'm trying not to let her see me cry, and we're jogging along. And I keep telling her, yeah, I'm just going to drop behind you because there's people passing us. And, really, it's just, I don't want her to see me cry. And so then I'm thinking about how I'm putting out this negativity, and I've got to reframe it. So I had to tell myself, you know what? People want to help you. Don't keep presenting yourself like nobody's going to help you. Don't present yourself negatively. Don't even think that, because you think that, and who knows how they're perceiving it. It could be that you get up there and act like you don't want any help. And that's when it also hit me. So that was phase 2. So phase 1 was the first part where I felt like, well, why wasn't I getting any help? And that was making me feel bad about myself, and I had to rebuke that. But phase 2 was, what was really making me mad was the fact that I needed help in the first place. As if other people didn't need help, right? So if realizing it is so easy for us to tell everybody else, hey, ask for help, get help. There's help out there. I run militarySingleMoms.org. I created that back when I first became a single mom. And even though I'm married now, I love helping single military parents, moms and dads. And I'm always telling them, ask for help, accept help, take it wherever it comes. Don't turn help down, And it's so easy to say that when it's not us receiving the help. It's really, really easy for us to be the one who is always putting together the goodie bags, and it's always doing all the helping, and always doing all the nurturing, and always writing all the cards and praying for everybody. But it is so difficult for us to say, I need help. And sometimes it's easier to say I need help when we know we could do it, but we just really want to try and take care of ourselves a little better. So we're just asking people to pitch in to lighten the load a little bit. But when you get to that wall and you physically cannot climb that wall unless somebody boosts you up from behind, if you're not comfortable with needing help and being able to, rely on other people, if you're one of those folks like me who's always felt like you had to do it yourself, then that's going to be a tough mental hurdle to overcome. But one of the reasons that we call our group Building Wealth Together is because it's all about working together to achieve more than we could achieve on our own. And that applies in our whether we're building material wealth, money, finances, financial independence, whether we're building physical health, working out. Sometimes we need that motivation from somebody else to push us to that next level. Whether it's spiritual, forsake not the assembling of ourselves together. Why? Because it works. We grow more when we grow together. But a lot of times we are just not willing to accept the fact that we need help. Wanting help, okay, sure, but needing help, it's hard for us. It may not be hard for you, but it was certainly hard for me on that race. But I tell you what, by the time I got to the end of that race, by the time I got to that big wall, and I climbed up that big wall with the rope, and I did everything my girlfriend told me to lean back and make sure that I walked up it real steady, I was able to get up there. Well, I realized I hadn't practice transitioning from walking up to the top to actually grabbing the top of the frame. By the time I got there, I was okay with receiving help. And do you know what? Help was there waiting on me to help pull me over when I slipped and almost fell back. So I want to encourage you to consider the things that I've talked about today. If you have an area in your life that perhaps things aren't working out the way you want them to, and you've been doing everything you know to do, then I would encourage you to go in prayer and seek whether or not there's some area of negativity that you, like me, might be still putting forth into the world, where you still might be attracting more negativity into your life. I'm JJ Conway. I know that was a little bit longer video, but I hope that you found it valuable just the same. You can find me on the web at jjconway.org and also meetup.com/buildwealth with JJ Conway. Y'all take care and be